All right, on these, you're going to have a harder time because you're going to get bigger numbers and they are the same steps, but you're going to have numbers with the leading coefficient. Again, I do these the same way. I got to get into standard form, factor, solve for my solve for my factors, and then find my solutions. But you're going to get things that look like fractions. So first thing we need to do is get it into standard form. Now, again, it goes something squared plus a variable plus a constant. So the best thing I need to do in this case is just bring this minus 10x to the other side. There's nothing that matches it. I'm just going to throw it over there on the other side. And then I'm going to put everything in the correct order. In this case, the correct order would be 8x squared minus 10x plus 3. And that's still all equal to 0 once I move the 10x across. To find all my factors, I'm going to multiply my first and last term, which is 3 times 8, and that's going to give me 24. So I'm going to find my factors of 24. I'm going to put them right there. My factors of 24 are going to reduce down. Let's change my color just because I want to see some different changes. I might have 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6, and that's pretty much it. Now, the ones I want to get that add up to give me 10, add or subtract give me 10, could be the 2, the 12, or the 2, or the 4 and the 6. I'm going to use the 4 and the 6 because they're both negative. They have to add up to 10. So I'm going to use those two factors. So I'm going to put the 6 first and then the 4. Remember, we split our first term just like we did on the easier ones. But we're going to put this first term in front. This sign goes with the minus. This sign tells me that this sign goes with first term, and then this other sign tells me that they are the same. So they both have to be a minus. Remember, plus means the same, and the other one minus means they're opposite. So here's the difference on these. I have to reduce these before I find my final factors and solve. I'm going to reduce them. I can take out this 8 and 6 on this first term. I can take out divide both of them by 2. I can take out a 2. By dividing out the 2, that's going to give me 4x minus 3. And there's my first factor. Now on this second one, 8x minus 4, I'm going to divide out a 4. Because I could do 2, but it's not going to get finished. I'm going to do 4 because it'll get it closer. So that's going to give me 8 divided by 4 is 2x. 4 divided by 4 is 1. Okay. From there, I am going to solve. I'm going to take my 4x minus 3. I'm going to set that equal to 0. And then I'm going to take my 2x minus 1. I'm going to set that equal to 0. I'm going to, for my 4x minus 3, I'm going to add 3. So that gives me 4x is equal to 3. If I divide by 4, I have my first factor that gives x is equal to 3 over 4. There's my first factor. There's my first solution, my first x-intercept. On the second one, I'm going to add the 1 to do the 0 property. So that's going to give me 2x is equal to 1 when I move it across. And I divide by my 2. So I divide by the 2, divide by 2, and that's going to give me x is equal to 1/2. Again, I got two factors, two solutions, even though they look kind of funky. Those are my final answers, 3/4 and 1/2. All right, let's look at another one. Now in the second one, same thing we practiced on the other side. On the other type, you just have a lot of different things in the order. So as I'm looking at this one, I want to combine all my terms to get standard form. Well, I'm going to first group this with this. So I'm going to bring the smaller one across. I'm going to subtract x squared. So 5 minus 1, that gives me 4. I have 4x squared. And then I'm going to subtract this 2. Nothing comes across. So technically, this 7x doesn't change because that 2 doesn't match. And since I brought the 2 over, now I've got that gone on that side. That's going to give me 0. So I've got 4x squared plus 7x minus 2. All right. I got to find the factors. Multiply my first and last term. 4 times 2, I need the factors of 8. 1 times 8, 2 times 4. Now, sometimes you can get huge numbers. Go slow, start with smaller numbers, and make your list. Remember, we did this in class. I started with like 2 divided 3 and so on. So the ones that will give me 7 in this case are going to be 1 and 8. So I'm going to use those in my bubbles. So now I've got 8 and 1. Okay, this sign goes with the first term. This sign tells me they are opposite. So if that's plus, that has to be a minus. And then I'm going to put my first term in the front. 4x and 4x. Reducing my term, I'm going to divide by what I can divide out. I can divide out a 4 in this case. That's going to give me just left with an x plus 8 divided by 4 is 2. In this type right here, nothing can divide out of 4 and 1, so technically my other factor is just going to stay 4x minus 1. So last thing I have to do is solve. I have to solve for them. So I'm going to take my x plus 2, set it equal to 0. And then I'm going to take my 4x minus 1, set it equal to 0. I'm going to subtract 2. That's going to give me x is equal to minus 2. And on this other one, I'm going to add 1. So I get 4x is equal to 1. Then I divide by 4. So my other factor is x equals 1 over 4. Okay. 2 factors given. I got 1 over 4. And I've got the negative 2. So these would be my 2 answers. All right. Again, one more I want you to try on your own. I'd like you to try this one at the end. 3x squared plus 7x is equal to minus 2. Find your factors.